got a cheat sheet here. Too many players.
Well, I want to know just how far ahead or where you feel like you are now compared to where you were when you took over last year.
Well, way ahead. With the OTAs this year and many camps and stuff, and being out here and actually doing what we're coaching is a huge advantage. Plus, we've had most of the guys we've had for a year, so we've come a long ways in a year. So this has been fun this spring.
And talent-wise, too.
Yeah, we signed some free agents that are going to help us. At D-line, linebacker, and in the secondary. And then, some of the rookies will help us. So, we're encouraged by everything. But still, guys, we're still not playing football yet, right? We don't have pads on and that. But, I think we're doing some good things out here, moving around and learning the system. So, I think there's a lot of positive energy when you talk to the players, and there should be. So, hopefully we can carry that into camp and continue it.
Phill, with the guys you brought in, not just the free agents, but JC in particular, how much more stuff can you do given those additions than you were able to last year?
Well, the big thing is I've got to utilize the talent here. So we may do some things differently than we did a year ago, and then some things that are the same. But my job is to maximize the players on the field, what they can and can't do. So we've added some stuff, we've thrown some stuff out. So and that's the fun part of OTAs. We're trying some things that we're looking at to see if we're going to use in the fall. So this is a fun time.
What do you think is the best possible spot for Jeremy Chinn on the football field?
Well, if you don't utilize Jeremy in a number of different ways, then you're not utilizing the player. So we won't pigeonhole him into one position. So we can maximize him by doing a lot of different things with him. So and you'll see us do that again this year.
Is there just I guess, have you noticed his transition to the safety room? Like, have you seen him pick up on the concepts, those kind of things?
Oh yeah, he's been a safety his whole life. So he's had no problem. It's a little bit different for him. It's kind of funny because last year Al Holcomb had him in a room by himself most of the day. Well, now he's in a whole group that's giving it to him all day. So I think it's been fun for him too, being with all the guys in a room.
You ever had anyone like that who spent a year with a single coach?
Not really, no. But in pro football you can do that, right? And it was really beneficial based on what we did.
Just your time getting Hassan in here and what you were, how much has he changed, I guess, from when you first coached him?
Guys, do you know Hassan went to Temple as a corner? I don't know if you guys know that. And then we used him at linebacker, then we put him at defensive end, and then he really flourished. He's got some unique abilities, and we have to utilize that, right? I mean, there's some things he does real well and some he doesn't, right? So I've got to put him in the positions that he can really flourish. And he's another player that can do a lot of different things. So he's actually fun another piece of the puzzle that's fun to play with. And we've got, 3 or 4 guys like that in our defense.
So you're saying we'll see him at corner, maybe a little bit?
No.
How much Jeremy goes, do you anticipate him being used the same way?
Who, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Well, I think, guys, last year we used him from the front back, and I think he's going to be a little bit more from the back up. But a lot of the same things he can do, right? And based on what we're calling, we've got to utilize him, maximize him. So, example, to not blitz Jeremy wouldn't be very smart, would it? I mean, he's fast and big, and so, we've got to still implement a lot of things, but just do it in a different way.
How much of an advantage is it for you and disadvantage for offense that looks like with what you've added, that you can kind of morph into whatever defense you want without having to bring in different personnel?
Exactly right. We have a couple personnel groups we can put on a field and be in a number of different styles of defense, which gives the offense a lot of problems. Because when you bring in a personnel group, they know what front coverages you're in, right? But if you can play one group and do a number of different things, it gives you a huge advantage.
And how much more flexibility do you have on that this year than you did last year?
A little bit more. Guys with Hassan, Luvu, some guys that can do different things. It gives you more flexibility.
As a coordinator, how fun is that for you to have that versatility on defense?
It really is. It's a lot of fun, but I also have to be smart that we don't have too much, that we don't burden them with assignments so they can play really fast. So that's kind of the catch-22 to it, right? So you're always trying to balance that, and really what balances it for me, if the player says, no, I can't do that, or he's struggling and says no, then I have to listen.
Phill,
so that's what we got to do.
sorry. To that point, you some of those guys you brought in are on the light side. How do you prevent? What do you do to prevent offenses loading up and trying to run on you?
Yeah, there's going to be certain types of offenses that are going to do that, right? But really, you need to be big inside. The number one running play in our league is bounce, and outside it's a perimeter play. You can have smaller guys out there, but you need to be big inside. Well, we are big inside. With Jones and Brown and Roy, we're big inside. So those littler guys on the edges can play. Burns, Hassan Reddick, those guys, they can be really effective out there. So, and we've added some size. Like if you look at Shaq right now, Shaq's put on some weight. And I asked him to this offseason. He's done a terrific job. So we're bigger inside, and so we'll be fine.
You all were able to add A.J. Boye in the offseason. You also have J.C. Horn. Ideally, how would you like to see a rotation with Dante Jackson look?
Well, we have a lot more flexibility rotating. Even guys, Keith Taylor, he's a fifth rounder, but I thought he was going to go in the third round, right? Second or third. He's a talented guy. There's a lot of guys that we can play. My biggest concern is making sure I can get all these guys on the field to make plays, right? Because there's a variety of different groups that I can play, but we've got to be smart on that we utilize everybody with the right amount of snaps. So that's my biggest challenge right now, especially with a guy like AJ and Melvin.
How have you seen Gross Matos kind of adjust to the initial competition that's kind of come in around him at other positions too as well?
He's terrific now. You guys would love him. He comes to work every day. He's not afraid of competition. He loves to play. So no problem at all.
You talk about adding some weight to Shaq. Is Burns a guy that he is just going to be what he is in terms of his size?
Not really, because Burns, had the surgery. Obviously, hasn't lifted yet like he's going to, and he's around 250, which means his body. Burns was younger last year than all the rookies we brought in. So his body's starting to grow a little bit. So I think you're going to see him 5 to 7 pounds heavier this year and stay there, right? And heck, the next year, because he's only 22 years old, right? He's young. So you'll see him get bigger, I think, over the next 2 or 3 years.
What's his ceiling?
Who, Burns? Guys, there's not very many guys as athletic that can do as many things as he can in this league. To me, his ceiling is really high.
I was curious for you, is there someone who came back who, over the offseason, you gave them something to work on that for you, really is standing, I know it's early, but, standing out so far?
Oh, yeah, every guy, what we did is, our deal is to maximize who you are, so we're really honest and upfront with guys. So we gave them what to work on before they got here, and a lot of them have done it. It's either percent body fat go down, or gain weight, or a lot of different things, and they went out and done it. So, and you can tell that by how many guys we have here, right? This team is still one of the youngest in the NFL and eager. So it's been fun to work with.
As you evaluate guys, particularly the rookies, what are you looking for during this OTA process?
Well, the biggest thing with the rookies is do they think they belong? And that's what I've really enjoyed is our rookies, like J.C. Horn, he looks like he's been in the NFL for a long time. He just fits right in and plays. Taylor's the same way. A lot of these guys are just fitting right in and playing. So as long as they do that, they're going to continue to get better and better. Because I think a lot of times when you doubt yourself, you don't get better. There's things that hold you back. And I think these guys, a lot of the guys we brought in that are young don't doubt themselves. They've got real confidence, and I think that's important growing.
And did that almost surprise you with JC to see him walk in that turnkey ready to go?
No, not with how he's been brought up in football. Nothing surprises me with him.
Did you see that much last year with having so many rookies having to play? Did you see some of them doubt themselves?
Well, yeah. Early some guys question themselves, right? Especially guys, if you play corner, at some point you're going to start questioning yourself. It's one of the hardest positions to play in the National Football League as a rookie. That in quarterback, right? So, there's always those growing pains early, especially, they've been idolizing some of these guys that are going to cover their whole life, right? And now they're lined up. It's 3rd and 8, and they're lined up covering. Just think how you'd feel. So, you're always dealing with that early.
What was that sales pitch like to basically be in the room and advocate for a guy like Horn at that spot in the draft?
Well, I think by the time the draft came, there was no advocating. I mean, everybody was locked in. We did our homework, and so we were all on the same page as an organization.
I'm curious, as a defensive coordinator, I know it's not your player, but what have your impressions of Sam Darnold been, just observing him from afar?
Sam, I love being around him. I see him every morning at breakfast. He's like everybody else. He's out here learning the new guys are learning the new system, but he seems to be really well liked on our football team, and so as far as how he's playing and all that, you'd have to ask the offensive coaches. But I enjoy being around Sam.
Are you in the early crowd at breakfast?
I am.
And Darnold obviously is.
Oh, he's there. Yeah, he's there.
What time are we talking about?
Well, by 6:30.
Yeah.
Is there?
Go ahead.
Is there anything specific you're looking for Dante this year? I know he dealt with the injury last year, but something specifically that you want to see from him.
Dante knows that the more consistent he gets, his talent is his movement skills. I don't know that there's much better in football, all of football. So the more consistent he gets, the more big plays, because he has exceptional ball skills and exceptional movement. So the more consistent he gets, I think it's the limit. Now, he's got to stay healthy too. Last year he only played 400 snaps and had 3 picks. If he starts to play 800 to 1,000, then he's 6 or 7 interceptions, and that now you're an all-pro, right? So hopefully that he continues to grow that way.
How do you improve consistency? Is it reps or?
No, I think it's you've got to understand who you are and what, and so we're really direct with our players what they need to get better at. I think when things come real easy to you, you get complacent a little bit. We all do, right? And that's kind of how football is with him, right? So, and he understands that, and I think he trusts us, so everything's going well with him. Yep.
Do you consider yourself 4-3 base? What do you consider your base right now?
4-3.
Okay. I don't know if with all your new talent, because you can do about everything you want.
Yeah, we can. Yep.
You said there's no real advocating for JC at that point in the draft, but when in that process did you kind of lock onto him and think this could be that guy? This could be one of those kind of cornerbacks?
Well, we did an interview with him on the phone, and when I got done with that, I said that we need to, if we get to this point in the GM and everybody's locked in and this is the guy to take, there was no question in my mind to take him. But it was a whole process. We spent a lot of time, with him and a lot of other players too. But we thought, he was the guy to take.
But what were the traits that stood out to you?
Well, if you look at him, size and speed. I mean, I don't know if like Troy Pride is a big, he's 6 feet 200, right? And Troy and him were walking next to each other, coming onto the field yesterday or last week, and I said, "Look how much bigger JC is than Troy. You don't realize how big he is, and the ability to move the way he is. Plus, guys, he's got a high IQ for football. Yeah, I mean, whatever you tell him, he knows and learns right away. So he just got a combination of a lot of things. But I think growing up the way he did, in a football environment his whole life." That really helps.
Besides those traits, what did he say during that phone interview that kind of wowed you?
Well, I asked him about covering Julio and Mike Williams, and I won't tell you what he said, but it was like, hey, let's go. There was no, and it wasn't fake bravado or any of that, right? You could just feel that, hey, I mean, I'm a big guy that can run. Let's see.
Speaking of Julio, did you shed a tear when you saw that trade go down?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's fun to watch, and we'll continue to watch him. But I hope he has success in Tennessee.
Burns was really excited about what this defense can be. It feels like you guys have the pieces to be a really good defense. Where do you stand on your excitement level, and do you feel like you have all the pieces to be a top 10 defense?
Well, here's the deal. Like I've told all of them, talent-wise, we have some guys and some good pieces, right? But it depends on us now, what we do. And I never really talk about the opponent much, but I think if we do what we're supposed to and come out here and work every day, because really, guys, practice is really the most important thing that we do. And if they're detailed out here and play hard and physical and those things, then I think everything will fall into place. So, I'm glad they're excited because they look at each other and they say, hey, we could be really good. And with that belief, you have a chance to be. So, I'm excited about the upcoming season. But again, we're still not in pads, right? This is PE to me, right? When we put on the pads and stuff, that'll be brutal football.